They should have not shown the guy, like the startling, oh, I see a dead person, let me scream underwater. And it should have been after the movie, it's like still in the water, and he still has the little CPR thing on. He's like,
He's just strapped there.
Yeah, because I'm like, why won't you die? Like halfway through this rewatch. Like, damn,
The shark using it as a fucking battering ram was tight.
It doesn't make any sense.
Hold on, we are just destroying this.
No, we're just making it harder for you to edit. It's fine.
Jesus.
Why don't we just start?
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Okay.
Let's just do a hard start.
3, 2, 1. Deep Blue Sea is a 1999 American science fiction horror film directed by Rennie Harlan, starring Saffron Burrows, Thomas Jane, LL Cool J, and Michael Rappaport. Welcome back to the Cult of Films. I'm John, the host, and I'm lost at sea with these two flotation devices. That is Jason Alt and Stephan from Cannibal Video. Welcome back.
Please put your tray table in the full upright position. As we talk about a water movie. There's a plane scene, all right? So
it is a pretty plain scene.
There is a plane scene.
There's a couple of plane scenes.
And you may wish that you had a vomit bag for parts of this movie.
All right, you guys, I got 8 crates of Epicac from Mort, all on my tab. Now, whoever goes the longest without puking gets the last piece of pie in the fridge.
Jason, why are we talking about Jurassic Shark?
Jurassic Shark was a movie that made money, but people don't really talk about it like they do some of the other movies. This has a bit of a cult following because despite its kind of success as a weird schlocky blockbuster type movie, when it was like the late 90s and we just wanted disaster movies, we wanted our Dante's Peak to get Armageddon. So they made a shark movie, but it wasn't a Tara Reid as a scientist shark movie. It's a Michael Rappaport movie as a scientist shark movie, which is a little more believable.
Who are you gonna trust? Me. That's who. You trust me. You know why? Because I'm trustworthy.
He knows all the schematics.
So they made a lot of money actually. I wasn't sure if this movie made money, but it definitely did. And good for everybody involved. This is a movie I really like, and I had a tendency to watch it whenever it was on Cinemax. Even though is it good? I don't know. Do we have to answer that question? This is the Cult of Films. Do I think our viewers will like it? Yes.
Yes.
So
yes, it's a perfect bridge of. It has popcorn-esque moments to it because it had a pretty decent budget, but it also is super cheesy and it has those like B-movie moments as well, which I was like, what a better like special guest on this one than Mr. Stephan, because I was like, movies like this, I'm like, is this one too schlocky of a good movie, or is it too good for a schlock movie? I don't know. Where does this fall in your wheelhouse? Because I know you like the weird ass shit.
I think this is like a perfect just creature feature movie. I don't want to say it locks too beautifully in both ends, either like, too schlocky or too this, that, or whatever, but it is a great movie now looking back. It gets extra schlock points. I'd say at the moment when it came out, it was like actually like, oh wow, the graphics on this are amazing. This looks like a good thing. And like when you watch it now, it's like playing a sports game where you're like, it's like real life. Oh my god, it'll never get better than this on my PlayStation 1. And then you watch this now and you're like, holy shit, how did I like that?
But it's not like going back and watching like a Dire Straits music video. Like, this looks like a PS2 game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some of the movies you go back and watch, you're like, oh my god, why did I ever think that looked good? But
there are moments of goodness.
Don't look terrible. Yeah,
right.
They haven't really aged that badly.
It's really the attack scenes. Anytime a shark interacts with a person, it's bad. But like the water stuff is good. The sharks on their own are good. But the moment you put anything that's actually real there, like any rendering of a character who you're like, wait, I've seen that person before, and he isn't a 3D model of nothing.
He's not a ragdoll.
Yeah.
This movie had a perch on its shoulder because what did it have to compare itself to, or what was everyone going to compare itself to? Of course, Jaws, right? So, and the movie magic about Jaws, you're going up against Spielberg. It was don't show the fucking shark. So what did they do? They're like, we're going to make this movie 20 years in the future. We're going to showcase what effects look like nowadays. And to the movie's detriment, but you could probably like put this next to like The Matrix, and it doesn't look that much worse. It has moments.
Yeah, I think people don't really remember how the VFX in The Matrix is aged. Like when he touched the mirror.
Yeah.
And he
well, that's the thing is a movie is good.
Commercial from '94.
When a movie is good, your mind just locks in and is like, that was great. Oh, how cool was that? And most people don't rewatch things, like, at all. They just let that memory sit. Like, it's like when you say to anybody, hey, what are your hobbies? And someone will be like, oh, I like skiing. And you're like, oh, when's the last time you went skiing? Oh, like when I was in high school. What are you, like, 42 now? You don't like skiing. And it's the same thing with a movie. Yeah.
You liked being 18. You don't like to ski. I get it. I guess it sounds like we're apologizing for this movie, but really the point I wanted to make is I don't think the VFX aged terribly.
I would agree. Exactly, sometimes. Right. The caveat would be like anytime there is an attack, it's the worst shit.
The sharks are always good, the people are always terrible.
Yes.
You know what? The one scene that really bothers me, and I know it's only in there because they thought they were smelling their own farts so hard. They're like, we're going to animate water, and it's going to look so real. And they're in the fucking helicopter, and they're just animating water, and it looks, it's so cute.
Water's hard, and like not till very recently have they really locked that down.
Recently.
Yeah. For me, it's Samuel L. Jackson's death. Spoilers. That it's like only a few frames, but it's so bad.
When he gets pulled off his feet and his feet go up in the air, it looks like
it's wild.
We're gonna seal off this.
To a no definition person whenever someone's getting bit.
It's the one time where I wish they had like Lucas kind of reimagining, like where they went back and fixed a couple things.
Honestly,
and just like
the computer stuff would be better, but also I wish they'd done some of the stuff practical, because the practical effects in the movie were good. When Stellan Skarsgård gets his arm bitten off and there's like, blood spraying everywhere.
The tunnel scene.
That looked cool, yeah.
Everything in that set is fucking incredible. And it's not, it's a big set, but it's also like everything, that's shot looking up, like the fire, everything's falling. That's all, digital, and it looks great. So they picked and choose like which things, but the things that they really try to push the envelope on, again, because I think it was their hubris is just like, well, we nailed how the shark moves and how it looks, because for the most part, when the shark goes digital, it looks pretty good. But it's the small things like the water and the people and stuff where you're just like, I know what a person looks like. That ain't it.
I want to wake up someone who went into a coma in 1998 and show them this movie. They'd have so many questions like, why are these VFX so good? They were not this good in 1998 when I went into the coma. And also, what is LL Cool J up to?
I saw this on VHS when it first came out, and I remember thinking it was awesome. And then just like a few years later, like someone had a DVD of the movie, and I remember laughing at Samuel L. Jackson's death, and my friend like pausing it, and you could pause it to like the frame where it wasn't like a VHS where it was like D, and you could actually see how shitty that looked, and that was hysterical.
His death was a bit, which I appreciated too.
Sure.
It's a strong move, though, and like a lot of
Yeah.
things have aped that. I'd say like that was one of those moments,
Yeah.
like where the big build up and you're dead, like we see in a lot of movies now, and I think that's like where
Yeah.
people saw that the first time and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. That's good, yeah.
It's like
Well-
the Seinfeld isn't funny thing. Like it seems kind of
Yeah.
hacky now because everybody's copied it. So when you
Yes.
go back, it's like, oh, they're doing the dumb, gets killed in the middle of a motivational speech bit, but like they wrote that bit. That's a great contribution.
The like averting expectations as far as what your brain thinks a horror movie is supposed to be also, and how it completely throws that out of the window is pretty awesome. And they were very self-aware of it, because I was watching some interviews with Rennie Harlan, and it's just like, you know, what you like, the beats you think this is going to go on a different beat, who you think is going to die, the order of people that are going to die. It was pretty cool because it always kept you guessing. I remember seeing this in the theater and I was like blown away, but also I was probably very high at the time. But then watching this again, I kind of forgot, like, because it's not a movie that I go back to a ton, but watching it again, I was just like, oh shit, I was actually surprised at some of the deaths, and not all
You
of them are
thought
bad
LL Cool J was going to die first.
because he said so.
Yeah, that was like a dumb trope in like 80s and 90s horror. The black guy dies first, but also he gets separated from the group, and you're like, oh man, you're gonna pay LL Cool J money, and then you're gonna kill him right away. And then
That kind of makes sense, though.
Resourceful.
Yeah.
I think like going into any like big budget horror movie, when you have a name, you're like, okay, they're either gonna die very quickly because they're expensive, or
Barrymore.
they're gonna survive because they're famous.
We need you to
and
do
and it could have gone
3
either way
days
with
on Deep Blue Sea, not 3 months.
yeah.
And what a great like some of these set pieces. The flooded kitchen scene is tense. It's
Yeah.
funny.
Claustrophobic.
Very much so. It's funny while being very tension filled. Which makes it just very enjoyable. I mean, this is like a perfect popcorn film. Just the setup of the area itself. I think, what is it called, like Aquatica or something?
Yeah.
Almost like 90% of your laboratory is underwater. So how do you make that interesting? Like, it looks really cool, like the pens, how they do it. It looks like fishing pens, but you know, you find out that it's a bunch of sharks in there, and they kind of reveal, you know, there's a little bit more to these sharks, and we'll kind of get into that in a little bit. But it kind of reminded me of the first Resident Evil, how it's kind of like a honeycomb. It's just like you see very mundane things on the top, and then you go down layers and layers, and it's always interesting, like the rooms that they're going through.
It also seems just needlessly expensive to be like, okay, we need sharks to be in the water. Why is the whole thing underground? Why do we have submarines? Why do we have, like,
I
like a
mean,
lot of stuff is like, okay.
It seems
Because you have
like
Thomas Jane.
They
Why
wrote
is
the
Thomas
movie
Jane
back-
swimming with the sharks constantly? Oh, he's got a thing in his mouth. Let me be a fucking piece of floss. I'll just do
He's
a
a
fucking
convict.
Matrix maneuver and get this.
That was foreshadowing for when he does the mega shark tried to bite me, and then I rolled up into a ball like Samus.
The triple Lindy. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Just, oh god, there's so many things that are just like really dumb though.
he
for
screamed
like
Olay underwater.
literally,
Really
like,
dumb for how smart these people are.
Like
Yeah.
Skarsgård's death, like he gets bit and used as a battering ram, like he's playing with him obviously, because he could have just rammed the glass, but he gets speed, he shoots the body, it hits the glass, face first, he smashes the glass hard enough that it shatters glass that must be thick as fuck to hold the ocean out.
Yeah,
but
because
that doesn't even kill him.
A little chip came out.
He's not even bleeding
I
from
thought
the nose.
corner of his stretcher hit the glass. I didn't think his face.
Yeah, the shark
But
had like.
here's the thing: if you're
pinpoint
traveling
accuracy.
50 miles an hour and the corner of
Yeah.
your stretcher hits,
Oh,
and his
yeah.
face, then no matter what happens,
The buoyancy of the water. You don't have the salt composition in there. It was special sharks.
Oh, yeah,
that
he
are
would've
He's
used-
not wearing like a strapped-on face mask. He has one of those little like oxygen things
I
to
know,
like
it was
give
so
you
funny.
extra air,
And he's missing
the
an arm.
motion doesn't rip it off.
That's it. The weight distribution, because his arm was gone. You know.
Oh,
that's,
okay.
That's how he.
All right,
why he
I'll
leaned
let
a
that
little.
one slide. Explain this one to me, John. The
Okay.
movie opens with the shark escaping and attacking a boat, and our
Sure.
boy Thomas Jane spears it once, twice. Okay, I've got him. The shark is not strong enough to move a boat that is just parked on the water. But later, a shark pulls a helicopter trying not to die
Sure.
into a wall like it's fucking
Do you know
nothing.
why?
I know why,
Why?
but I'm gonna pass it to Jason.
Helicopters, you don't have to pull the weight of the helicopter. You just have to destabilize it. You're fighting against
Sure.
lift.
But when you're pulling
And-
something in the
Not
water,
what I
you're
was gonna
fighting
say.
nothing.
But if you're pushed, if your nose is against the boat and you're trying from zero to shove the boat, it's going to be tough. But he said the shark could crash through just steel, not titanium, but a steel. I mean,
Net?
it was a fence at the end. They're like, you can crash through a steel door, and then it's like struggling with a chain link fence.
Well, it's chain link, made in America. God damn it.
So, but he said if the shark got enough like momentum, and it had momentum because there was slack in the line on the helicopter, and then it went taut and yanked the copter.
Well,
But it
the
had
other-
complete slack because he was already traveling at full speed when he was going the first place, and then he gets shot by a boat not moving. It's not like it was in reverse thrust. It should have just wanted to coast. He like drove in to shoot that guy, or did he drive, stop short, and then shoot?
I
This?
just-
Like
I
it
just
all just
really-
felt so fake opening movie bullshit.
Having a party, man. Let's rock it.
Like, and what do you tell those people? Sorry, I'm just your neighborhood fish wrangler. Good day.
I'm a shark wrangler with a past.
Don't check my record.
Dude,
No water.
people
can
like
clean
you
away.
got a file? What? A file, dude? I'm just on my dad's boat.
Wait. So what?
What's your file say about me?
Have I always got this wrong? I thought the shark that came up through the beginning to try to kill the teenagers, which again, subverting expectations. None of those teenagers died. But I thought that was the tiger shark.
That was one of the two
batch
littler
one,
sharks,
and then
not
there was-
not the big mama shark.
See,
that
I
was like
thought
a
that was the-
20-foot shark, not the 40-foot shark.
I thought that was the tiger shark that I thought he goes out and wrangles sharks to use them as feed. I
Wait,
thought that
so
was
you thought
basically
that was
cow.
just a normal shark?
Yes. That's why I thought it was kind of dumb.
That thing was a super velociraptor shark that
Right,
had its
yeah.
brain enlarged.
In a Jurassic Park movie, it would be the shark that like bites a woman for no reason.
Yeah.
I love that they go, we like quadruple the size of their brains. Who thought that would make them smarter? Like, what?
Yeah.
It's
Stephan,
1999. We never heard of synthesizing hormones or proteins in a laboratory setting. You could totally make these in situ with a little bit of shark brain in a petri dish, but like, why do that when you can just make a shark? And
Well,
then
they even do their
milk
test
their
by
pineal
dropping it.
gland with a syringe,
Yeah.
I guess.
They have a little hunk of brain in a petri dish, and they're like, let's drop on it. Oh, look, lightning. We've
was
won.
that her grandmother's?
I don't know if it was actually
Because that's who
someone
she was trying to
related
fix.
her,
Yeah.
And what you're looking for here is lightning in a bottle.
Well-
Stephan, in 30 seconds, what is this movie about?
This movie is about man being stupid, making sharks too smart, and then the smart sharks being shockingly smart, too smart, and killing all the dumb people.
Like smarter than people would have been. It's like
Because
you
there's
should
no-
have the
it's not
intelligence of a person.
contextual.
It's like, are you sure? Like, they tricked them into blowing up the facility themselves.
If I just made you smart, like the smartest man in the world, you wouldn't know things you couldn't know. You don't
Yeah.
become now I know.
My
I'll have to
entire
sink
world
this
used
facility.
to be swimming around a pen and eating dead dolphins, but now I know the layout of the building better than anybody who works
Yeah.
in the building except the autistic guy.
Like they did this better in the. Have you seen the sequels to this movie?
No.
Of course I
So
have not.
so there's two sequels. The second movie is exactly this movie, just again and cheaper. But
Oh,
there's
so it's
one
like Evil
scene.
Dead 2?
Kinda, but in this movie, there's a part where like our main character scientist lady is like working on the formula or whatever, and she like looks to the window and like fish move. But in the second movie, she like looks to the window and there's a shark's eye like looking at her. So it's like studying her shit.
It's writing things
Sharks
down.
are doing shark recon.
But that's the problem. It's like it knew things it shouldn't be able to know. Like, yes, I will flood this facility and it will go down. Like, a dog sees a wall and it could be made of nothing that it could easily break through, but it goes, there's a wall, a barrier, an immovable thing. Like, that's what animals are. I hate the trope of, it's too smart, it knows. Like, what do you mean? It's a fucking animal.
Said that? It was just the clever girl character for this movie. Tom James,
Muldoon,
it tricked us into blowing up the facility ourselves. No, it didn't. It got really lucky.
It was all them.
Some mistakes.
Yeah.
You had some bad luck from the way the helicopter happened to explode, but I don't think the sharks.
That shark framed me for murder. It sent an email to my wife. It said I was cheating.
I think they just made a lot of bad decisions, and the sharks were just there.
Yeah.
Waiting to eat them.
Like, when that girl electrocutes a fish, that part, as a child, I was like, wait, does this make sense? She's wearing rubber shoes in an insulated suit, and she's like, you know what? Let me take this off, I'll stand on it, then I will shock this shark that's in water that will be thrashing while the water's electrocuted, and I'll be in, like, white panties because the director's my cousin or something and wants to see some shit. Like... Like, that's obviously why that scene happens. But it's just, she's a goddamn scientist. This isn't a bimbo. She's not the person that, like, throws chum in the water. She's like, I'm insulated. I'm good. Okay, all right, let's do this. Like,
yeah, but it's more like, listen, this person didn't go to college to know how to work in a sea lab. Like, this is a person with a PhD in, like, marine biology or something like that knows about animal brains.
Not even. Like, she was, like, the neurologist or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, well, I don't know nothing about shark wrangling, so...
Yeah.
Like, I'm a smart person for the Earth, but, like...
Sure, but there's a certain level of
trope for a million years where Sherlock Holmes doesn't know that the Earth revolves around the sun, because he's like, I don't have time to learn shit like that. It's, like... That's why they have the Thomas Jane character, to know how to do shit.
The scumbag with the heart of gold.
Heart of gold.
Yeah.
You're a good man, Carter. But with your background...
And then you have the person that's doing things for the right reasons as the Machiavellian, and again, it kills her ass at the end, which is probably the most satisfying death.
Well, I mean,
I disagree.
Jim got it the worst, and that it was his hubris to violate the Harvard Protocol or whatever. Because he got his arm bit off and he's like, oh man, this sucks. And then, like, he's in the helicopter winch getting pulled up. He's like, this sucks. And then it falls in the water. He's like, man, I'm not going to drown because I'm wearing an oxygen mask and I only have one arm and it's strapped to a gurney.
I kept thinking of the kid from Freddy Got Fingered that's always dying off camera. Or he's just getting hurt, but then at the end he gets sucked up in the propeller blade.
Oh, yes. Then he's dead.
No, he's okay. He says he's okay.
I just thought Saffron's death was not satisfying because, yes, I wanted her to die the whole time because this is all her fault. Literally everything is her fault. But the way she dies, again, just proves to me, I'm like, you're dumb. Like, it's like, oh, no. Oh, I can't let the shark get away. Let me, again, the trope of cutting the hand. Like,
why would
I hate
you cut your fucking... That bothers me the most.
I hate that so much. But then, she doesn't, like,
some of my
drip
blood.
it.
I'll cut myself where I can't use my fucking hand for 4 weeks while this heals.
Where I have to swim and climb out of something.
That's every
right
movie.
Here. It would have
and
bled
so
more.
much blood comes out. She's like in the water and it's like red with blood. But like, why jump in the water? Because
just hold your... I thought she was going to hold her hand out. And
that's what she should have done. Because just think about how stupid this is. Not because what she did. Oh, I sacrificed myself to save everybody. No, you didn't save shit. You were the person that had to put the trigger and blow it up. You just jumped away from your only job. So if it does come back, it kills you for no reason.
The guy who was passed out during the plan, watching the like, it's like whipping off the dock. He's like, got like a foot left. He's like, I do what now?
Yeah.
As the guy's like
how does he
100 yards away,
stand?
Facing away from him, riding a shark.
It's like perfect comedy zoom too, because it like he like wakes up. He's like, whoop, and it like zooms in on his face.
Like, cut to the smaller shark, like, biting Michael Rappaport. Like, it's like, boom, boom, and he's, like, in 2 pieces. He's instantly severed. Everyone dies immediately when a shark bites him. But but fucking LL Cool J gets bit and dragged like through the world,
Awesome.
and then he's like, oh, you know what? I'll just put a little piece of duct tape on it. I can stand. I'm fine. I'm gonna shoot this thing. I'm even gonna
Cool
tell
J.
jokes. Like
Jesus.
it's just so dumb.
Jesus saved him.
Jesus saved him.
He did have Jesus on his
All
side.
those godless scientists got turned into shark bait, but the preacher and the shark wrangler with the heart of gold, they're the
heart
two
of gold.
that survived.
Deeper, bluer. His head is like a shark fin.
So you guys have both seen the sequels. Is Thomas Jane in any, or it's probably a complete
Nobody
I've not seen the sequels, but it seems to me like they did not get $100 million budget on.
If they had $3 million, I think I would be surprised on that second one. And the third one is in like a fishing village in like Tahiti or something. Like it's a totally different thing.
Yeah, this was shot on location in the same like industrial pool that Titanic was shot. So I mean, they were really going for it, and again, half of it looks really awesome. More than half.
Oh yeah, I would say the look is pretty good.
The lab is tight. The whole thing.
Yeah.
That feels like a lab, yeah, and like it looks like something where like, yeah, it would be wet and dripping, and I'm in a fucking submarine type style. Like I like all that. I think they pull off. Honestly, their biggest problems are things where it's like, yeah, you should have just like read that script and be like, that part's fucking stupid. Let me just change that. Like I can live with all the visuals. I hate when you fuck up things that are free.
It was a premise in search of a plot, is what happened. They're like, all right, well, we want sharks. Well, sharks are boring. What if they were super mega sharks? Well, why are they super mega sharks? I don't know. Maybe scientists made the sharks bigger. Why the fuck would they make nature's perfect killing machine larger and more deadly? I don't know.
Because Alzheimer's.
Have you ever known anyone with Alzheimer's?
Well, no.
I read somewhere that sharks don't die from old age, so maybe they don't get Alzheimer's. So you need shark brain juice to make Alzheimer's go away. I don't know. You're the writer, right?
How much Johnny Walker was consumed at that fucking like? Oh well, you know, when was the last time you saw a shark have a cold? Let's make a movie.
That's it's a good point, John. I think the '80s movies were better because those meetings had cocaine instead of Johnny Walker.
That's true. Yeah, there was.
And they didn't try to
We're gonna make
explain
fucking
anything.
Gremlins too when you're doing cocaine, and we need that energy back in Hollywood.
Electricity gremlin?
You just said noun and gremlin, like you playing Mad Libs. You just like a child. You have the brain of a child. You do not have a high IQ, but you haphazardly came up with a gremlin that's just made out of bolts that is zigzagging all over the room and is done completely in animation. You a crazy person, and your idea's in the movie. Done.
Little gremlin vajayjay in the movie.
I'm sick of potheads making movies. Can we get some more cokeheads making movies?
I'm saying.
Potheads make fucking sausage fest. Cokeheads make Gremlins too. That's what
Make
we need.
Scarface.
Yeah. Scarface. I don't think cokeheads made a cautionary tale where the cocaine guy gets murdered necessarily. Or was it a cautionary tale? Or were cokeheads like, my favorite part was the giant pile of cocaine?
Has there ever been a smaller stakes movie too? There's just like all of this roundabout shit for like almost no reason. Her even sacrificing herself in general. Like, who's to say all this like
we
horrible
can stay here
radiation
until
that
we
you're
get rescued,
mutating
but-
the shark with isn't gonna like sterilize it? I assume that's why we're not letting it out in the world, right?
Yeah, it would get killed by the first pod of orcas it ran across.
Right.
Like, it's an 800-pound mako shark. It's like,
Well, it's a 45-foot
dolphins
mako
killed
shark.
it.
That's bigger than a killer whale, I think.
But not like 8 killer whales.
Well, I assume if they're working in teamwork. This guy though, he would
this
build
shark-
a
if the
fucking
shark has
gun
time to
because he
plan,
has all
it's
the
always
science
like-
in the world.
it's always like, who could beat Batman? How much time does the super mega shark have to plan?
What Bruce was in Jaws, like they definitely got the practical effects of the shark animatronics right in this, because it looks fantastic. Like every time a real, not a real, but a real shark is swimming around with the actors, it's fucking like to scale. It fucking terrifying. Like it's jumping in her face. I was watching the behind the scenes with her. She's just like, everyone was not like. Everyone was very worried on set in this, because not only was this giant like piece of machinery lunging at your face constantly, but they're flooding every set. You're falling off of fucking ladders. Like it was pretty perilous.
Like, was this a great movie? It was a fun movie.
It's a
You're
very
allowed
fun
to
movie.
you're allowed to watch movies just because you like them.
Yeah, it's a popcorn idiot movie, and those are like my favorite kind of movies. Like in '99, this was a goddamn banger. Like I enjoyed the shit out of this movie, and like honestly, it's still fun. It still holds up as like an entertaining movie. I'm just older, more cynical, and I have problems with everything now. I'm
Our
not
cast-
just like enjoying something for the sake of
Yeah.
enjoying it with a big grinning smile on my face.
Our cast is telling Gen Z which movies to go back for and which ones not to go back for. It's like, you want to watch Volcano, not Dante's Peak. You want to watch Deep Impact, not Armageddon. We're saving the world.
I like how much mixed signals we're sending our audience to, because like we'll say some like actually good movies are so great, and then we're like, and Deep Blue Sea, and they're like, wait, what?
Well,
You learn how to make the perfect
you know how many
omelet
times
in
I've
Deep
seen
Blue
The
Sea.
Negotiator because like I liked being 15.
Right?
Like, The Negotiator was on HBO a lot the first summer I moved back from the UK, and I watched it a lot, and then now I like The Negotiator. Is it a good movie? No. Not really. Do I like it? Yes. So maybe Deep Blue Sea is just one of those movies.
Nostalgia carrying it home.
But I watched it this week, and you know what? A lot of it holds up.
What a crowded field, too, 1999 this was released in. That's, like, historically the most packed fucking 12 months of cinematic releases. And this still made a ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a
imagine
time
that.
where I was going to like see
Imagine
a couple
Fight
movies
Club
a
and
week.
American Beauty are playing at the cinema, and you go, let's go Deep
It's
Blue
like
Sea.
Deep Blue Sea for one.
You ate my bird. I'm surprised the bird died, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
that's like the American public would rather see all the people die than a bird. And that bird was, winning over all of our hearts by cursing and treating LL Cool J like a bitch.
Yeah. He was a wise-ass bird. Yeah, I don't know how he was going to get the bird out of there. It's like, hold your breath, bird. We're going to go underwater for a long time.
Well, while he had the bird, he still thought there were stairs. The stairs could be flooded because the bird can fly.
I kind of just wanted the bird to fly up in the tunnel scene and just get roasted and fall. Like,
Why was the fire just the roof? Like, I don't
Because
understand.
it looked awesome.
That's
But what was
the helicopter.
I understand
okay.
why fire happened, but like it's a weird thing to be like,
It was-
that
it was
concrete tube we're in, just the top is on fire. It wasn't open to the
Helicopter
sky.
Yeah.
It was just like a roof of fire.
Because it looked fucking awesome.
Yeah. Because it looked all Poseidon Adventure, which was,
Yeah.
I kind of got some Poseidon Adventure vibes here. They remade Poseidon Adventure like a couple
few
years
times.
after this, right? That was like 2002 or something.
I really got Alien Resurrection vibes in that scene, but I still liked it.
Yeah. Anytime someone's on a ladder, like,
Yep.
what is this? Pitch black.
The thing I think about when I think about this movie is like when he's like, that guy's a genius. You mean the one pissing into the wind?
He's pissing into the wind. How brilliant can he be?
Like, I think about that line a lot. More than I should. Which is at all.
He's our smartest guy. He's weird. They didn't use the word autism in 1999, but that's clearly what they're going for. He's like, I know.
Oh, was
all
that Rappaport pissing in the wind?
I actually, so for years, I thought that it was Thomas Jane. And then on this watch, I thought that it
I
was...
thought it was Stellan Skarsgård until
Yeah,
they
yeah.
showed he was wearing the same cargo shorts.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
just a phantom genius pissing in the wind. It's not really important who he is. The line sells itself.
There's just some people... Okay, so I had a college professor for my hardest class I took in all of college. It was the second semester of physical chemistry, which was just like quantum physics type bullshit. And my professor was a guy named Warren Beck from Nashville, and he had such a thick Southern accent. And anytime he would tell me anything, I'm like, "Are you sure?"
Sure, you're
I don't
intelligent.
believe you with that accent. I realize you have a PhD in physical chemistry, but are you sure?
Sure, it's not a KFC.
You definitely don't want to clog that inlet, Frit. Unplug that. And I'm like, nope, I'm not doing anything you say in that accent, for sure. If you want to give me some sage wisdom about how to get an alligator out of your fucking back porch, then sure. But I don't know. Sometimes the accent can throw me.
Sure.
I can remember my first watch of this movie when he's like in the tubes, and you're like, oh, this is cool. And then like they like hang on showing you a camera for a minute, and I was like, why the hell are the cameras outside the cage? That seems weird. Like even in my like high school gym, they put the clocks behind a cage, like, and those are only gonna get hit by dodgeballs. There are sharks in this thing, and then like a minute later, they're attacking the cameras. So I was like, huh. I feel gratified by
Yeah, it's that old trope where everyone's in the control room and all the cameras go dark one by one. They're like freaking out. It's like a fucking shark is doing this.
And it's
but
hilarious.
That's that thing too. They have no conception of what a camera is.
I know
Why
what
would
a
they
camera
even
is
think
because,
that it?
yeah.
It just drives me nuts.
It's always the most mundane things that go out. Like in Jurassic Park, it's like, oh, a storm took out all of our electricity, even though we're a bunch of scientists that just brought dinosaurs back to life. Or, you know, we brought these super mega mutant sharks, you know, we put them in this ultra facility. Guess what? A storm knocked it out. And now, you know, all of our internet's bad, so we're losing all of our
Jurassic Park was Crichton, and he was like, I'm going to write 10 chapters about how, like, this particular frog managed to turn itself female and get pregnant and all this stuff. Like, I talked to, like, all these people, and Deep Blue Sea is like, yeah, I don't know, the shark brain's got some drugs in them, and they want the shark brain drugs. So go get the shark juice, and then the sharks fight back, and the sharks know what a camera is. I don't know.
You gotta make it bigger.
Both are fine. Like, I like Jurassic Park a lot, but I like this movie too. And if they saw how much I like this movie relative to how much I like Jurassic Park, maybe they wouldn't have bothered with the 25-minute, like, you know, tram ride of exposition where they, like, have to watch a whole documentary in the middle of a movie. And I'm like, I'm gonna watch you watch a movie? What the fuck is this? You needed that much exposition. And I don't know, man. I thought that kind of was a slow part of Jurassic Park when I was a kid. Versus Deep Blue Sea, it's like, yeah, whatever the sharks got. Yeah, they're smart sharks.
It was ham-fisted, and I still didn't get that was not one of the sharks. I thought that was just the feeder shark they got.
We know how to make a brain bigger, but we don't do it on people. We only do it on killing machines.
I know, you couldn't have picked, like, a fucking, like, sloth or something. It's like, oh, you know, sloths don't get colds. Like, let's harvest their brains. No.
We managed to make an animal's brain 8 times bigger. Oh, why did you do that? Oh, so we could have an experimental model to do research to make an Alzheimer's drug. It's like, why don't you sell the giant brain pills? What are you talking about?
Why does it have to still be in the shark? Couldn't we just have, like, okay, here's the head over here, there's little tubes hooked up to it like we're Reanimator, and just, all right, we're juicing.
See, if I tried to write a script, I would like to think I could write an okay script, but I would not. My first script would be terrible. If someone who was, like, in Hollywood saw my script, they would feel like how I see when they try to write science. And you know what? No one cares about getting the science super duper right except Neil deGrasse Tyson, and, like,
he's a dick though.
But you see how people deal with him. He's like, actually, James Cameron, Titanic was a pretty good movie, but if you look based on the stars in 1921, they could have been in that position. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up.
Just let me like things.
That's why I would ignore things. I would just start it off with nothing. If I'm making Deep Blue Sea, I would start it off almost like The Thing. And it would be like, oh, there's this research facility. It looks like it's completely destroyed. What the hell happened here? I don't know. And then, like, 20 miles south, there's like there's like an oil rig or something. It's like, oh, we're being attacked by sharks. Oh, God. Thomas Jane, you're a criminal, right? Because criminals go to oil rigs. You could fight a shark, right? I've been known to. And it would be the same movie.
It could have been anything. Yeah, it would have been the same movie. So, but what I'm saying is I'm glad they didn't bother trying too much with the shark brain exposition.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, we're, the reason we can't biosynthesize this protein, it's like, nah, we need the shark brain juice for science.
It was just there to give her a foil arc. Like, it was just there to be like, okay, she's a sympathetic character. She's looking out for humankind and the good of everybody. And then, no, she's an obsessed asshole. She's Dr. Frankenstein. And she dies of her own hubris at the
white whale
end.
was her dead parent.
They didn't make her lovable at all. They really could have just, like, spent a minute more on that and it been like, oh, yeah, like, show she has a dog or something.
They did it on purpose, too, because he goes up and he tries to hit on her and she's just like, oh, just tell everyone that you're a fucking scumbag. And you're just like, oh, what? This is our hero?
I have a French accent, so you know not to trust me.
have a very big, wide mouth. You cannot.
That was actually a lot of their CG budget to make her mouth bigger.
To make it smaller.
To make it smaller. They're like, which one's the shark?
It wraps around. I can't light her. Everywhere you look, there's mouth.
She was the one eating the shark in half.
Her lips meet at the back of her head. She's like Tony Robbins.
She's like,
For all the CG scenes, instead of holding a tennis ball on a stick, it's just her.
It's mo-capped, yeah. If you're gonna do the multiple sharks, right? I wish they had a little bit more personality. Like you just had the bigger one, the mom one, and then like, or was there just two?
I think it was like a mom and like
were
two
three.
babies essentially.
There was three. Okay.
There
It's just
was
like,
one first generation and two second generation, they said.
yeah, you need to go a little bit more in that direction of characterizing the killing machines. Then, give it a little Michael Myers arc or something. Like show the sharks like kind of like swimming and looking at each other or whatever. Well, it sounds like they corrected that in the second one when they're actually taking notes from the humans, like you said.
The second one also has like a million baby sharks that are also flooding the facility and like a swarm of piranhas.
Nice. Oh my god. Does the song play? The Baby Shark song?
Was this pre that? When did that song come out?
That would have been a hood move to actually.
I never heard of that song before I had a kid, and I assumed that I heard of that song because I had a kid, not because that song just came out of nowhere.
That song took over the world.
Mommy shark, mommy shark,
It's catchy.
It's like
It is catchy.
Macarena.
I mean, HIV is catchy. Like, it's not a compliment.
It was kid COVID before. Anyway.
Well, I do feel brain fog, so it's very similar.
Who would you recommend this movie to now, Stephan?
Still,
that hasn't seen it.
If you're a creature feature enthusiast, this is 100% up your lane because like it is a high budget creature feature is like few and far between that are like fun and good. Like generally you have things that are like on a spectrum of this is the worst shit ever where you barely see a creature, and then there's ones where it's like, okay, there's some creature here, we have a movie, but like that's a 50-50 between being good or bad. And I would say like your Hollywood big budget like the Meg style movies don't come around every day, especially these ones with like people like that's Samuel L. Jackson. Holy shit. So like I'd say anybody could enjoy this because of the budget. When you put money on screen, most normies can enjoy it. So it was theatrical for God's sake. Like
People want
anybody
to see
can enjoy
fucking
this.
Anaconda around this time.
Yes.
This was huge Anaconda vibes.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
prefer Anaconda though, if you're gonna only watch one.
That's tough.
Oh, not me though. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well,
I don't know.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
If you liked Anaconda, I liked this better.
Sure.
Not all of us did, but
Just Ice Cube saying there's snakes out there this big is all I need.
well, speaking of snakes and speaking of Samuel L. Jackson, I really feel like Snakes on a Plane changed everything when they were like, we're gonna make a cult movie.
Right.
By working backwards from Samuel L. Jackson saying motherfucker.
Yeah.
And
not one motherfucker.
But when everybody saw like where the movie like this was taken to its natural conclusion, Snakes on a Plane basically wore out its welcome a little early by trying to force it. Like people, this could have been like people referenced Samuel L. Jackson's death in this movie for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this was part of the zeitgeist to the extent that like Snakes on a Plane tried to capture some of that. And
maybe I'm wrong. I thought Snakes on a Plane went back into reshoots because the audience demanded it be called Snakes on a Plane, and him say, "I want these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane." Like, so, like that's almost the world getting what they asked for, and it being too much. Like we flew too close to the sun with wings of wax.
We need it to be R. Well, if you need it to be R, we will have to go back and like have some nudity. That was the only way they could quickly. We can't reshoot the dialogue in every scene, but we can add a scene with nudity. So they had the chick topless getting bit by a snake just to be like, all right, if it's R, you should see a tit.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this is pre-Snakes on a Plane before they started trying too hard. I feel like this movie was like one of the last good ones before they ruined it. So
it's an earnest attempt that slipped into that rather than trying to be that. Agreed.
Yeah, this is a cult film because it was like the last movie like this before they just like, all right, get Tara Reid, get two people from Celebrity Rehab, make fucking
put sharks in a tornado.
Shark tornado or
You are gonna get it, you gator baiting bitch.
It's also
Fire
$50 million
dolphin, I
more
don't
dollars
know.
than those movies get. So like
Yeah.
they're barely this is when you're still going for the box office.
This was
rather
supposed
than
to be a
just going for the
blockbuster.
cash.
This was supposed
Yes,
to be a
yes.
good movie, and like the lesson they learned is like, you fucking idiots, so you'll watch anything. You'll watch Sharknado, and you watch Sharknado different than you watch this movie. But this was still a movie that didn't take itself seriously. It wasn't Poseidon Adventure because it wasn't like super serious. This was like a dumb shark movie that the science made no sense, but it was fine because like it looked cool and it had some of your actors that you liked in it. And it had that guy that did that song about knocking you out, and he was in it. So what the hell? So
It had the
this was
song that you lost
almost
your
the,
virginity
like-
to. Yeah.
Yeah, this was almost the last movie like this before they were like, oh, we're not even going to pretend it's a real movie.
Right. And a lot of those beforehand, like, were good. Like, Anaconda is fun. 13 Ghosts is fun. Like, all that kind of schlocky shit. But they were still trying to make an earnest movie. And they just happened to... And that's how you get that perfect cult movie sauce.
And this is our generation's fault. Millennials, we were so addicted to irony in the early 2000s and late 90s. Like, when we were the demographic they were trying to pitch movies to, when we were the 17-year-olds... they were trying to make R-rated movies for. Like, we're like, oh, we like fucking irony. Oh, I'll rent bad movies. I like Mystery Science Theater. Like, that was my friends. We would rent shitty movies at Blockbuster and just, like, sit and make fun of them because that was more fun than, like, watching Miller's Crossing with your friends, like...
The English Patient.
Yeah. You'll watch something like that by yourself, but, like, if you're going to watch movies with friends, you're either going to ignore the movie or you're going to watch something that fucking sucks and laugh at it. And when they realized we were doing that, they're like, oh, well, we're not going to make another Deep Blue Sea. We're going to make, Piranha 3D.
Yeah.
With David Hasselhoff. So I think perhaps this was the first industry that millennials ruined. Millennials ruined the Deep Blue Sea sequel.
It's interesting to think of how this was received as a date movie too, because you go in and it's just like, oh, this looks like it's going to be fun, probably PG-13, and then it's fucking gruesome. You have a twitching, Michael Rappaport, who's like the most likable person on the face of the planet. His like severed foot is twitching in the camera coming at you, and it's just like, holy shit. Like I felt nauseous at some points in this movie, so I can only imagine like how many like boyfriends got smacked upside the head because they took their dates to this movie.
It's just as a date movie because there was like no.
Yeah, I think so.
All horror movies are date movies, but
this didn't really have jump scares as much as it did like, oh, we went in the water and there's sharks in there because fucking, of course.
Right? Yeah. What do you think?
But if you're like your average moviegoer, horror has a lot. A lot lower threshold. Like, we're people that watch movies, so things do not hit us the same way. But I'm sure if I showed this to my girlfriend, she would be like, "Oh, there's terrifying sharks! I won't go into any underground facilities ever." And I'm like,
look, they try to animate the water though. I think a lot of people make the mistake of going, "Do you like Jaws?" And it's just like, that's not the audience. Like, Jaws is a film. This is a fun fucking movie. This is, if you like Anaconda, or even Deep Impact, or some kind of like action-packed, greasy popcorn movie, that's this to a T. This is like an A+ in that genre.
Yeah, because it's not just a water movie. It's like a climbing while burning debris rains on us movie too. It's a we can't go this way. We're trapped in a facility underwater movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Resident Evil 1. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got some Resident Evil 1 vibes.
Totally.
Definitely. It's not like a dot on a line between Sharknado and Jaws. It's its own thing.
Yeah. It's not in the same table. It's at a different table.
So when you recommend this movie to people, it's like, look, we're not asking you to watch a piece of shit because it's funny necessarily. It's a movie that doesn't take itself seriously, and it's fun to watch, but it's not like a goofy boner jam comedy. This is a movie where there's some sharks biting some people, and I don't know. I think that's a very enjoyable genre.
Mm-hmm. Never bored.
I'm pretty sure we covered the sequel on the Cannibal Video channel, so if you want a follow-up, go check that out.
Listen, whoever called it Deep Blue Sea 2 and not Deep Blue Sequel should be fucking fired.
Deeper Blue Sequel. All right. Well, that was a good segue, Stephan. So where can you find that video? Where can everyone find it?
We're Cannibal Video on YouTube, www.cannibal.video.
Is there an E shark species? Because I really wanted to make that a thing when I said Jason E. Alt. Where can everyone find you?
I'm sure there is.
Type in the
Cook
chat
E
below.
Cutter Shark.
Oh, there you go. I'm giving up. Where,
Who's your favorite street shark?
Oh, Slammo.
I'm at Jason E. Alt on Twitter, and who knows what kind of content I'll be creating in the future. So you just check me out there. I got a link tree. So, like, look at that. It's got links in it.
He's going to be very active
You always
during
throw it
Shark
to me, and I'm
Week.
like, I can't say the same thing every week, but maybe I should. I don't know.
You just send him a recording, and he'll hit play.
Well, yeah, I think he made me like hold up a sign before, so maybe we should go back to the written word. I'm Jon
Do
the
a
host.
Love Actually episode with me, just like cards. Doing all my
I'm Jon the
socials.
host. You can follow me at Jon the host. You can follow this very show at the Cult of Films. Until next time, wait 20 minutes before jumping in the water with mutant sharks.
After you cut your hand.
With
Or have a PB&J.
Perfect.